declaration, should he please, by Councilman Smith. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Councilman Smith. Motion to approve the minutes. It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. There is no special presentation tonight, so Madam Clerk, we will move on to ordinances on final reading, starting with 6A, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 921 Barton Avenue, more particularly described herein from C5 Neighborhood Commercial Zone to UGC Urban General Commercial Zone, subject to certain conditions.
We have Councilman Jerry Mitchell, followed by Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm pretty excited about this, Tim. Get that thing open. Move approval.
Been moving properly seconded. All in favor by the sign of aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. D, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located at 2770, 2786, and 2804 North Point Boulevard, more particularly described herein from M3 Warehouse and Wholesale Zone and C2 Convenience Commercial Zone to C2 Convenience Commercial Zone.
Councilman Smith, what's your pleasure? Okay, it's been moving properly seconded. All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. C, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 1038 Graysville Road, more particularly described herein from R1 Residential Zone to R4 Special Zone, subject to certain conditions.
Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move to approve.
It's been moving properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. D, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 207 Chickamauga Road, more particularly described herein from R1 Residential Zone to C2 Convenience Commercial Zone, subject to certain conditions.
Councilwoman Burrs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The conditions were read into the record last week. I believe they're still agreeable. I move approval.
Been moving properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. E, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to lift conditions from ordinance number 13283, previous case number 2018-0007, on property located at 7353 Lee Highway, more particularly described herein.
Councilwoman Burrs.
Move approval.
Been moving properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. F, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located at 5050, 5336, and 5344 Hunter Road, more particularly described herein from R1 Residential Zone to O1 Office Zone, subject to certain conditions.
Councilwoman Burrs.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Ingram is here. We never got you on record as agreeing to the conditions. Thank you, sir. John, do you have those conditions?
Okay, it says that this zoning shall be subject to the following conditions: medical facility campus, including retail pharmacy only, no greater than 2 stories, and type A landscaping around all lines of property.
And you agree to that?
We do.
Okay.
Joseph Ingram, Ingram Gore and Associates.
What?
Just for the record, Joseph Ingram, Ingram Gore and Associates. I'm the applicant.
Okay, all right. I move approval.
Okay, it's been moving properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now, Madam Clerk, we will go on to ordinances on first reading, starting with 6A, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone part of property located at 4261 Shallowford Road, more particularly described herein from R1 residential zone to M2 light industrial zone.
Councilman Gilbert.
John, can you come up?
Yes, sir.
Can we go over this, and I want to make sure the applicant, is the applicant here?
The applicant is here.
Okay. Is there any opposition here? Okay.
So do you want me to give just a quick short overview?
Quick,
or-
short.
It's a request for M2 just to develop for like light manufacturing. If you look at the slide on your screen, this is a picture of the site. You see in the upper left-hand corner. There are some precedents for light manufacturing. You got the FedEx facility across the street. So it's got kind of a warehouse feel at this block. Again, you see the M2 across the street. So staff did not have any issues with M2 requests. It's also consistent with the plan recommendations. There was no opposition. So both planning commission and staff recommend approval.
Can I hear for the applicant?
I'm Tommy Austin, I'm the applicant.
Can you just briefly go over what your intent is for this particular property?
Yes, the backside of it floods, so we need to raise it up some, and then we intend to put flex spaces on it. And what I mean by flex spaces is light industrial buildings that serve as offices and shops for small businesses.
Hey, John, since he said this is called a flux, whatever, can we restrict this just to that?
I'm not, in terms of the use that LDO is used to enforcing, I'm not sure they'd be able to police that particular term in the zoning code, because it's really not a zoning code, it says flex. Let me look at if you don't mind, let me do this. If we could punt on this for a couple agenda items, I'll look at the zoning code and see if something in terms of use that matches what your needs are. I think you're trying to make sure there's not any other more intensive uses that would be of an
Yes,
impact.
correct.
So give me a few minutes, and then if it's okay with the chair, we'll come back to this one for that
Sure.
purpose.
Is that your pleasure?
Okay.
Move to the
I
lay on
might
the
speak to
table.
that, if I might
Okay.
speak to that briefly. That's why I met with the planning staff, and they suggested to go to M2 so that we couldn't do something that was real heavy-duty there.
Right, you also went to the community, I think,
Yes, sir.
North Brainerd Council,
Uh,
Mr. Harris?
North Brainerd Community Council, I think, or, yeah.
And they also said,
Right, I explained what I wanted to do, and they were excited to see something new and nice, but light industrial, not heavy industrial, go
Right.
there. So they were in favor of it, or
Okay.
are in favor of it.
I appreciate it, I think we're gonna move the lid on the table till John can find some information.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded to delay. Okay? Well, yeah. Okay, Madam Clerk, let's do 6B, please. All in favor, sign of aye. Sorry, opposers nay. Okay, move to delay, item 6A. No, you said delay.
Lay it on the table.
Oh, lay it on the table, okay, so I just heard delay, okay, move to, yeah, we got it, we're gonna lay it on the table. Lay it on the table, okay, we got it. All this new stuff, it's gonna be fun. Now, Madam Clerk, let's get back to business. Item number B,
An ordinance amending
letter
Chattanooga,
B.
an ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, Articles 2 and 5, Sections 38-2, 38-1, 83-17, 38-305, 38-306, 38-323-5, 38-333-7, and 38-341-10 relating to outdoor storage and mini warehouses.
Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a great first step, I believe, in addressing our outdoor storage and mini warehouse landscaping discrepancies, if you will. And with that, I'd like to move to approve of the alternate version.
Been moving properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposers, nay. Motion carries. Now we'll move on to resolutions. 7A, please.
A resolution declaring surplus of property located at 4500 North Access Road, further identified as tax map number 119HA001.04, and authorizing the mayor to enter into a donation agreement in substantially the form attached and any related documents between McCamey Animal Center and the city of Chattanooga for the donation of the property, inclusive of reversionary language in the deed that should the property cease to be used for the stated purpose, it shall revert back to the city of Chattanooga.
What's your pleasure? Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now we'll go back to item.
Just recognize him.
Okay. Councilman Gilbert, well, hold on a second, sir. Now you got the mic.
I want to put it back on the table. I'll take it off the table. John, what did you find out?
Yeah, I think what would get us there is, I'll speak with the applicant, warehousing and related uses. Again, it's a listed use in the M2, but that way it wouldn't include things like a rug cleaning plant, a lumber yard, and some of those other things that are in M2 that gives some flexibility. It's going to be marketed for a warehousing purpose, so I think we should do warehousing related uses that get you. So I understand you're wanting to kind of provide some constraints.
Right, some condition, that one condition, so
Yep.
can you repeat that so he can put that?
Warehousing and related uses. And the reason I use related, because it could be something that, again, as long as it has the aspect of being a warehousing-related type use.
Okay.
We'll add that as a condition.
By that, I'll go ahead and move to approve.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor? Oh, got the amendment, okay. Okay,
On the condition we're gonna amend it.
yeah,
Move to approve as amended.
Move to approve as amended.
okay. Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded to amend.
Yes.
And then, all in favor by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. Okay.
Now move to the original.
You've already done that.
Okay.
Okay, we're good, okay. Item 6A has been approved. Motion carries. Got that, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Okay, now let's move down to resolutions again. 7B, please.
A resolution transferring $20,000 from Economic and Community Development Funds to the Industrial Development Board for implementation of economic development construction mitigation grants for the Chattanooga Department of Transportation's Patton Parkway construction project.
Okay, it's been approved and properly, motion to approve and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. C, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Economic and Community Development to enter into an agreement in substantially the form attached with Viewpoint Government Solutions for Viewpoint Cloud Software in the amount of $271,470 for 1 year, with the option to renew for up to 2 additional 1-year terms for a total of 3 years.
Council, what is your pleasure? Councilwoman Burrs.
Need my mic. Okay. One question. Mara? I'm not sure who answers this.
On item 7C.
Yeah.
the-
Whenever we have the option to renew every year, is it always brought before us every year with a report of how it worked before we renew?
We have not been doing that, but we certainly can.
I think that in order for us to be good stewards of money, if it's a 3-year contract, I think that when it's be 3 or 4 months before it's ready to be renewed again, we ought to have a report on how it's working, where the glitch, any 3-year
Sure,
contract,
Absolutely.
so that when we vote to renew, it's just not some lockstep renewal.
Sure, be glad to.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I move to approve.
Thank you, It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. D, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Economic and Community Development to enter into an agreement for the purchase, creation, and installation of artwork for the Wheeling Foundry Trailhead with artist Mark Fornes, the Very Many LLC, in the amount of $370,750.
Council, what's your pleasure? Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded. Councilman Vice Chairman Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mara, I apologize for not asking this earlier in agenda session. Where is the money coming from out of this $370,000?
I believe that this is from private, that this is from a private vendor, or private donor, but let me double check that real quick. And I have a yes, it is.
Okay,
It
so
is
this
from
is-
private donors.
This
yes.
is private donor money? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. E, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Economic and Community Development to accept a grant to support the Economic Mobility Planning Project from the Benwood Foundation in the amount of $50,000 and the Community Foundation of Greater Chattanooga in the amount of $50,000 for a total amount of $100,000.
Councilwoman Burrs.
Economic Mobility Program's a great program. I move approval.
Been moving properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. F, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Economic and Community Development to execute a professional services contract with MDC, Inc. for consulting services related to the Economic Mobility Planning Project to be paid from the Economic Development Fund for an amount not to exceed $160,000.
Councilwoman Burrs.
Again, move approval.
It's been moving properly seconded again. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now we'll move on to the mayor's office, Madam Clerk. Let's do G.
A resolution to confirm the mayor's reappointment of Gloria McKeldin to the Youth and Family Development Board.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item H, please.
A resolution to confirm the mayor's appointment of Leandra Sandiford to the Chattanooga Area Regional Transportation Authority, Carter Board.
What's your pleasure? Been moving properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now, Madam Clerk, we'll move on to Public Works, item I.
A resolution authorizing the approval of change order number 2 for J&J Contractors, Inc. of Chattanooga, Tennessee, relative to contract number Y15008-201, the new Avondale YFD Center, to retain the current available contingency amount for an increased amount of $887,710 for revised contract amount of $5,840,249.
Councilman Byrd. It's been moving properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, Councilman Byrd, you the man. All right, J.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to enter into blanket contracts for year 3 of a 3-year term to supply electrical services to citywide facilities with the reference contractors: 1, Admin Electric, Inc., 2, Triad Electrical Contractors, and 3, Tri-State Electrical Contractors, LLC, for the renewal of the 1-year blanket contracts for electrical services estimated at $1 million total annually for all 3 electrical contractors for use by all departments.
It's been moving properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. That ends this part of our city council agenda. Now we will move on to purchases.
Presenting for the mayor's office, we first have a membership dues for the 2019 through 20 Tennessee Municipal League annual membership to be awarded to Tennessee Municipal League in a total amount of $40,000. The Department of Youth and Family Development presents the purchase of a Lexia Core 5 Reading Student Subscription Renewal Invoice to be awarded to Lexia Learning Systems LLC in a total amount of $28,000. The Fire Department presents first a blanket contract renewal for firefighter station uniforms to be awarded to Summit Uniform Solutions in an estimated annual amount of $120,000. Next, a blanket contract renewal for firefighters' protective clothing to be awarded to North American Fire Equipment in an estimated annual amount of $978,000. Next, the increase to its authorized expenditure for its weekly towel service blanket contract, which is awarded to UniFirst Corporation, and the revised total estimated annual amount will be $34,000. The remainder of the purchases are being presented by the Public Works Department, the first being an increase to the authorized expenditure of its blanket contract for traffic safety, materials, flasher, and barricades for rent and/or purchase, which is awarded to A1 Barricades Incorporated, and the revised total estimated annual amount will be $300,000. Next is the increase to the authorized expenditure for its purchase order for sanitary, storm, sewer, video, and sonar services, which is awarded to Amtech Surveying Incorporated. The revised total estimated annual amount will be $800,000. Next, a new blanket contract for traffic control services to be awarded to TR Moore and Associates Incorporated, and the estimated annual amount will be $60,000. Next, a new blanket contract for equipment maintenance and repair, which will be awarded to Stowers Machinery Corporation in an estimated annual amount of $275,000. Next, a blanket contract renewal for machining fabrications and related equipment repair services to be awarded to Valley Mechanical in an estimated annual amount of $451,000. Next, a blanket contract renewal for sewer line chemical root control services to be awarded to Duke's Root Control Incorporated in an estimated annual amount of $100,000. And finally, a new blanket contract for pest and rodent control services citywide to be awarded to Aaron's Pest Control LLC in an estimated annual amount of $30,000.
Council, what's your pleasure? Okay. It's been moved and Councilman properly seconded. Any questions? Councilman Gilbert, you had something? Oh, okay. Councilwoman Coonraj, you're right. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's in the form of a motion. Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded to remove Lexia. Requisition number R187449. Okay, all in favor by the sign of aye. Opposers nay. Okay, it will be removed out for to be voted separately. Let's see. Councilman Gilbert, did you have something? Did you hit your button again, Councilman, please? Sure.
I got a question on the last one, on the pest control. Is this the same company that we denied not too long ago? Or is this a different company?
I'm sorry, I don't
Is
understand
this
the
the
question.
same company that we had in the past recently for pest control?
That we had a contract with in the past?
We had a contract with them in the past.
We have had a contract with them in the past, yes.
Is this the last one we had a contract with? That
You
we
mean the
didn't?
most recent?
Yes.
No.
So it's not the most recent one. So in other words, one we didn't vote on, we denied. It's just the same group.
It is not the same.
Okay, thanks. And one more thing, the specs, this might be tomorrow. These specs that we currently have on this particular company, we did change them up so that we have some results or better results, correct?
Yes, the department revised its specs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you good?
I'm good.
Okay. It's a motion on the floor. All in favor by the sign of aye? Oh, you, so. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As far as separating it, that already passed, correct? So the motion on the floor is a little different. The original motion was to approve all the purchases. Then the amendment came in to remove the one out. So can we confirm the motion currently on the floor right now is for all purchases except for the one mentioning Lexia?
That is correct. Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
Okay, great. All in favor, sign of aye? Okay, all in favor by the sign of aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. Now, you, Councilwoman, you want the Lexia voted? Now, yeah. Oh, wait a minute, hold on, let me, activate your speaker. Okay,
Yeah, it's on. Is it on?
yes, it's on.
I'm making a motion to defer it till next week. We've had several issues about this item, once it, dealing with council, even when we discuss it in our budget time, questions that go unanswered about it. I just want to make sure that we're getting the outcomes that we're wanting to receive here. If there's any other program that maybe we can go with due to the nature of the complaints that we've had. It took a minute for all the recreation centers to receive computers. So now that we received the computers, I need to have the updated data of the outcome of the students that's using it and other various questions. So I'm making a motion to defer it till next week.
The 27th. Okay, we have a motion on the floor to defer till August the 22nd. Is there a second?
Yes.
27th. Yeah, got it. Okay, any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye?
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Okay, item is deferred until August the 27th. All right, Councilwoman. Thank you, Ms. Woodard. Okay, now we'll move on to other business. Is there any other business? Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and in hopes that we can finalize our committee appointments to the Police Advisory, I'm going to make mine this evening and for council consideration of Mary Ann Hensley, please.
Okay, that is a motion.
That is a motion.
Can I get a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor? On sign of aye? Okay, opposers, nay. Okay, motion carries. Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to remind everybody the USS LST 325 will be arriving in Chattanooga, I believe in the morning. It's here only until August 27th, very short period of time. And for those of you that do not know what an LST is, that is a landing ship tank. It's an amphibious vessel designed to land battle-ready tanks. This particular vessel was launched in October 1942, and most notably it was landed on Omaha Beach in Normandy on D-Day, June 6, 1944. So come out and see a great piece of history. Tours will start from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Tickets are $10, $5 for children, and all active service members and World War II veterans, Korean and Vietnam vets are free. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. At this time, I'd like to announce my candidate for the Citizen Review Committee, and it was Chester Lee Clear. Mr. Clear is owner of WNOO Radio, and he brings a host of experiences to this committee, and I'm excited to make a motion to approve Mr. Clear to the committee. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? I love you regardless. With that being said, all in favor by the sign of aye? Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I told you I was gonna be hitting a home run. Okay, is there any other business the council would like to share? Excellent. Okay, now we'll move on to committee reports. Councilwoman Burrs. Go ahead, you good. Sorry.
under.
It's
other-
okay.
Under business.
We're here for you.
Yeah, well, thanks. It's good to have buddies. So I wanted the police academy graduation. We didn't get a chance to really talk about that. It was on the agenda, but we just talked about the new committee. The police academy graduation recently was just terrific. It was wonderful. It was a class act. They just did a wonderful job. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that it was the largest class of women to ever graduate in the academy. As a matter of fact, the president of that class was a woman. So there's hope for us, sir. And I just wanted to say that. As far as budget and finance, hey, we're doing great. No report.
Great. Councilman Byrd.
Thank you, Chair. We had a great presentation today in Economic and Community Development Committee concerning economic development from the Chamber. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Coonrod. No report. Councilman Gilbert.
No report, sir, but I'm gonna let you talk about this subject of last Saturday. So when it get down to you, I hope you'll talk about it.
Oh, yeah, you know what, yeah. As a matter of fact, I have someone much more qualified than me to talk about it.
All
But
right,
yeah, I caught it as my colleague was mentioning her report about the police academy class, which was great. Now we'll move on to Vice Chairman Henderson.
No report, sir.
Okay. Councilman Ledford.
No report, Chairman.
Councilman Mitchell.
We had a Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting today, and we'll have another one in 2 weeks after Jefferson.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Today, we did hear from Chief Roddy describing how the police academy, the next academy was going to be set up and the positions that have been reserved for the individuals that we have appointed to the Police Advisory Committee. So that is something that was great to get that information out. And they will be contacting each of the appointees just as soon as we send all their information over to the chief. Hopefully, that'll be done in the next day or two. Thank you, sir. No further report.
It definitely will. We've talked about that, and we're moving forward with it. So we got processes in place to ensure that happens. Before we move on to the next part, Tony Sammons, please, would you please enlighten us about the great event that was blessed for our city to participate in last week, the Minority Health Fair? I know you've been one of the catalysts for that, and I couldn't think of anybody I would rather share that than you, sir.
Thank you,
My
Mr.
Greek
Chairman.
brother.
Yes, on last Saturday, we were blessed to have a great event. It was our 18th annual health fair, and we're still finalizing all of our information from our partners who are participating in the screenings to get all that information totaled out. But our preliminary numbers, I was earlier telling individuals we had well over 4,000 who came through Eastgate Town Center, but as we went through our numbers, it exceeded 6,000. So I know that's kind of unbelievable to give a number such as that, but we had a large number of participants who had pre-registered. We had over 1,000 people who had pre-registered. And as the doors opened for activity before 2 p.m., we had over 6,000 people who participated. We thank all of those who joined us in providing the services and the screenings and information. I thank all of our citizens who actually participated to think about their health first. So it was a success. So we're looking forward to looking at all of our final results and start planning for next year.
Thank you, Tony. And I just want to share this. We've been working on this project for a long time, but I want to personally tell you how much I appreciate all the work you've put into it. I know that it's a team effort and everybody put in a lot of work, you know, both our fraternities and Delta Sigma Theta sorority, but I know that you have done multiple facets to make this happen. So I want to personally thank you for your leadership year in and year out, for making this great event that touched so many people in our community and changed so many lives, creating a healthy environment for all. So thank you, brother.
Thank you.
I'll see you at homecoming for my rewards. Okay. Now, at this time, we will recognize person wishing to address the council on non-agenda items. Mr. City Attorney, would you please read the rules?
Yes, sir. Y'all have adopted these rules as of April the 2nd of this year, and at the end of each council meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public who wish to address the council, and these are your rules. You can only be recognized at the microphone up front provided for that purpose. No person can have more than 3 minutes to speak. The speaker can only address the council upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority. Can't use any vulgar, obscene language, nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others. Please make sure you're addressing your comments to the council as a whole. And the chair can't recognize any person, neighborhood association, or organization to speak more than twice during any 30-day time period. And you can only do that once during a council day, but it looks like we have no one on the list. If anyone wants to speak, please come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Sylvia Ramos. I am a resident of East Brainerd, and I'm also a proud board member of the YFD. I serve as a senior director for education initiatives at the United Way of Greater Chattanooga. And in that role, I provide leadership to our Chattanooga Early Learning Scholarship Program, also known as CELS. I want to thank you for your support of this program, which allows us to provide support to working low-income families whose increased earnings are too high to qualify them for public child care assistance, but who would otherwise not have access to affordable, high-quality early care and education. In the past year, we've worked with approximately 17 high-quality centers in the city. We've served 47 children ages 6 weeks to 5 years old, representing approximately 40 families. On average, each child receives about $235 a month in child care assistance, and our recipients reside all over the city of Chattanooga. To illustrate the impact of the program, I brought with me one story of one recipient. When I applied to the state for child care assistance and found out that I made $16 too much each month, I just couldn't believe it. CELS is keeping our family off of food stamps in our home and helping me to continue to do the good work that I do for the city. That recipient was a city employee. So I just wanted to thank you for investing in our children and the stability of our families, and I welcome at any time additional questions about our program. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah. Councilman Gilbert?
Ma'am, I just want to thank you for bringing us that report. It's ironic that you spoke about this tonight, and we talked about it earlier today about child care and about how you can make a dime more and get knocked out of certain services. So I definitely appreciate what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said, Councilman. Who else would like to speak? Sir, the mic is yours.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
My name is Sean Nix, 5333 Lee Avenue, and I am a spokesperson for the I Am Foundation, which is the only Black LGBT nonprofit in Chattanooga. This week, this Friday, we will be hosting our annual Humanitarian Awards event. We would like to express a huge thank you to the City of Chattanooga, as well as our other sponsor, Erlanger Health Systems, for all that they do to continue to support our efforts and move our efforts further into a progressive and inclusive city. I personally would like to thank City Councilman Anthony Byrd for his personal donation to this event, and we would like to thank City Councilwoman Demetrius Coonrod for her personal donation to this event. We invite each and every one of you to celebrate with us our Humanitarian Award of this year, Dr. Eleanor Woods, the president of the local branch of the NAACP, as well as our mayor, Mayor Andy Burke, who is being celebrated with the Lifetime Achievement Award. We thank you, and we hope that you celebrate with us this Friday.
What time and where is it at?
Thank you so much for asking. It is 6 o'clock, and it's going to be at the 1401 Gallery on Market Street. So we hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Marlena Russell, and I'm here as a resident of Drake Forest, representing the community of Drake Forest. And we have been asking for a number of years. I've been in the neighborhood since 2007, and I've talked to residents that have been there since the 90s to have our streets repaved. And I would like to know what the process is for starting that. I've actually talked to several people and thought I had started the process several times. My latest request was last year, and we were put on the list to have our streets paved this year. And when I did not get any notice, I decided to call to find out what the status was, and I was told that an engineer came through and decided that it was not important enough to be paved, that they would look at it and come back and possibly fill in some of the potholes. But our streets are worse than just potholes. I actually have footage on my camera to show those streets since the 90s have not been repaved. We have potholes. It's the worst. Anybody that goes through Drake Forest knows that the neighborhood, the houses are $350,000 to over $500,000, and our streets are terrible. They're horrible, and you can look that up on any census. You can look that up on any MLS to see what the houses are selling for. And what I'm here for is just to understand what the process is and how do we get that started so that we can have nice streets and be able to come through our streets, our neighborhood, without having to fix a tire, which I just had to recently do just by driving down my street. So does anyone have any questions for me?
What district? District 4? Okay, would you like to address it now, or would you like to meet with her afterwards?
Oh, I'm glad to speak with you afterwards, but Mr. Bailey, I believe, back here as well, and we'll make sure that you understand completely how this works. And thank you very much.
Okay.
Sure.
And I appreciate that, and I do want to understand how it works, and if you'd like to address me in front of people, because someone may understand something that I don't, I'm totally okay with that.
Oh, I would not like to address you right now in front of
Okay.
everyone because I don't know the specifics of what was told to you by the city. I'm a
Okay.
huge advocate for paving, so I think it would be fair to give the city the opportunity to lay out their case to what you were told. I have not been aware that you were told that that was going to happen, and I would like to get some more information.
Okay, and I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, will you hang around? Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for bringing it to our attention. Is there anybody else that would like to address the council? Seeing none, okay. Oh, there you go. We are adjourned.